Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I'm gonna be taking a look at JINGLIU's kit from Honkai Star Rail and giving my thoughts and opinions of how I feel about her. Now, all the information I'm going to be discussing in this video is considered leaked, so if you don't like leaks, then you may not want to watch this video, but if you don't mind leaks, then the only disclaimer I would say is that everything I will discuss in this video is subject to change, so don't take everything that I say about JINGLIU as concrete until she officially releases. Now, let's get right into the video. First, let's take a look at her basic attack. Lucid Moon Glow deals ice damage equal to 100% of Jingliu's attack to a single enemy, just a generic basic attack. Her skill Transcendent Flash deals ice damage equal to 200% of Jingliu's attack to a single enemy and attains one stack of Singxi, I think that's how you pronounce it. One stack of whatever this is. Now this is pretty nice, kind of similar to like her basic attack, but deals double the damage. Her ultimate, Femoral Dream Flux, deals ice damage equal to 300% of Jingliu's attack to a single enemy and deals ice damage equal to 150% of Jingliu's attack to adjacent enemies. Gains one stack of her buff after attack ends. Okay, so this is actually pretty similar, like 100, 200, 300. Pretty nice. And I'm moving on to her talent, Crescent Transmigration. When Jingliu has 2 stacks of this, she enters the spectral transmigration state, gets her action advanced forward by 100% and increases her crit rate by 50%. Jingliu then gains and can only use the following skill, Moon on Glacier River. When Jingliu loses an attack in the special transmigration state, she consumes HP from all other allies equal to 4% of her respective max HP. This cannot reduce allies' HP to lower than 1. Jingliu's attack increases based on 540% of the total HP consumed from all allies in the stance, capped at 180% of her base attack until the current attack ends. The buff can stack up to 3 times. When the buff stacks become 0, Jingliu will exit the spectral transmigration state. Okay, wow, this is actually really nice. Not only whenever she enters the stage she gets a second turn, but her crit rate gets increased by 50%. What the f? Oh my god, this is actually really good. From what I remember, this was a change that they did to her kit recently. Before, I believe it was everything that it says here, but it didn't have the crit rate. So with the addition of the crit rate, it actually changes the way you will want to pre-farm for her in terms of her build. 540% of the total HP based on 4% of their max HP turned into attack for Jingliu is actually pretty nice. I think it's going to be a good nice chunk of attack for her whenever she uses her skill. Her skill then becomes Moon on Glacial River. This deals ice damage equal to 250% of Jingliu's attack to a single enemy and deals ice damage equal to 125% of Jingliu's attack to adjacent enemies. Consumes 1 stack of the buff. Using this ability does not consume skill points. Okay, this is actually really nice and close to dealing damage compared to her ultimate, where this deals 300%. It has adjacent damage similar to the other DPS characters that we have received like Blade and Dan Heng. So I guess the only thing here is that when using her skill or ultimate you get 1 stack of the buff that she has. So yeah, I think a big chunk of what's good about her kit comes from her talent, because not only does she take a second turn, gets 50% crit rate, but she also gets a good chunk of attack for her skill. Moving on to her technique, Shine of Truth. After using this technique, creates a dimension around Jingliu that lasts for 20 seconds, and all enemies in this dimension will become frozen. After entering combat with enemies in the dimension, immediately regenerates 15 energy and attains 1 stack of the buff, with a 100% base chance of freezing enemy targets for 1 turn. While frozen, enemy targets cannot take damage and receive additional damage equal to 80% of Jingliu's attack at the start of every turn. Only 1 dimension created by allies can assist at the same time. Okay, so like a pretty nice technique for Jingliu. Allows her to regen 15 energy and also gains 1 stack of the buff. And also being able to freeze enemies so they don't take a turn at the start. So that's actually pretty nice technique. Alright, traces. The first one, while in the spectral transmigration state, increases effect resistance by 35%. Okay, this is really nice so your Jingliu doesn't get stunned. I know some people wouldn't like this buff, but either way, I still think it's really nice to have. For the second one, after user tries to flash, the next action will be advanced forward by 10%. Now, I think this still if it's going by wording that it should only work for your basic skill, Transcendent Flash. If it does, then that buff for your trace isn't gonna be really useful because you mainly want to be in the buff state, so it's kind of like whatever as well. And now for the third one, Frost Wrath, while in the special transmigration state, increases ultimate damage by 20%. Okay, so like a nice extra damage for your ultimate. Would have been nice if it was for your skill, but still really nice. Now for all the other trace buffs that you get, she gets increased max HP, she gets increased speed, and increased crit damage. Now before, I think the only change they did with her traces is that instead of crit damage, they gave her crit rate. But now since they gave her crit damage, it kind of makes it obvious on how you want to build your Jingliu's relics, which I will get into very shortly. Lastly, let's get into her eidolons. In case if you are interested in pulling multiple copies of her, her first one, Moon Crashes Jingliu Gate. When using her ultimate or enhanced skill, Jingliu's crit damage increases by 24% for one turn. If only one enemy target is attacked, the damage originally intended for adjacent enemies will also be calculated against the current target, dealing ice damage to 80% of the damage the adjacent targets would have received. Now this is actually really nice. Not only do you get more crit damage, but also it allows to collectively collect all of that damage and specifically deal to the single target that you are facing. This is mainly going to be really nice when you're fighting against bosses, so I would say her E1 is actually really nice to get. Her E2, after using ultimate, increases the damage of the next enhanced skill by 80%. Another really good eidolon. I think her eidolons are actually really nice to get. Her E1 is really nice, her E2 is really nice, increasing the skill damage. Her E4, while in the buff state, the attack obtained by consuming allies' HP is additionally increased by 90% of the total HP that has been consumed from the entire team. The cap for attack increased in this way increases by 30%. Okay, a nice buff for her attack buff that she gets in her buff state. Yeah, just more attack, pretty nice. And now her E6, when Jingliu enters the buff state, attain 1 stack of the buff. While she is in the buff state, her crit damage increases by 50%. Okay, I think this is a nice E6. I think it's kinda underwhelming as an E6. Normally you expect something crazier, but like, it's just you gain 1 stack of the buff and her crit damage increases by 50%. It's kind of whatever. I think her best eidolons are her E1 and E2 by far, because you also get crit damage and is mainly increasing her damage overall. So I will say if you're going for her eidolons, then I will stop at E2. I wouldn't really go for E4 or E6 because they're like kind of whatever. And now moving on to her light cones. Now she did get a change in terms of her signature light cone, I shall be my own sword, where this increases the wearer's crit damage by 20%. It used to be 36%, but that got changed due to the following buff. When an ally gets attacked or loses HP, wearer gains 1 stack of Eclipse, up to a max of 3 stacks. Each stack of Eclipse will increase the damage of the wearer's next attack by 14%, for a total of 42%. When 3 stacks are maxed out, an additional attack will be delivered that ignores 12% of the enemy's defense. This effect will be dispelled after the wearer delivers their attack. Now, this is actually really nice because I think they kind of adjusted the amount of crit damage you get for the more overall damage you get from the Eclipse stacks. I think the only thing they changed is that they kind of added like a buff attack to where it ignores 12% of the enemy's defense, where before I think she gained more energy, but I think the fact that they gave her more overall damage, not only for her ultimate but her enhanced skill, kind of makes up for not giving her more energy, even though it would have been really nice. But honestly, it's fine. I think this is still a great light cone for her. But in terms of that, what other light cones can she use? Clara, or the one you get from her the shop, should be nice to use. Other than that, I would say Sigrid Vo is still a really nice icon to use for her in terms of 4-star. But if you don't have that, then I would definitely go for Collapsing Sky for the 3-star because it increases her skill damage by 20%. And you can easily get multiple copies of this. But with all that out of the way, how would you build Jingliu. Now, I think it's honestly very easy to build her. You mainly want to give her the ice set where it increases her ice damage by 10%, and also when she uses her ultimate, her crit damage increases by 25% for 2 turns. Very good for her skill. In terms of the 2-piece, I would definitely go for Retilament Arena because it increases her crit rate and also increases her skill damage by 20%. If you want to go for 2-piece instead of a 4-piece, then I will definitely go for 2-piece ice damage and or 2-piece musketeer or 2-piece speed set. Now for the stats that you want to give Jingliu, I think it's pretty obvious you want to give her a crit damage chest piece because she does get 50% crit rate from her talent, so you don't really need to go for that much crit rate. I would say just try to go for the base crit rate stat from all of your 6 pieces of relics. At least try to get around 20% crit rate from your stats because that will allow you to be around 70% crit rate for Jingliu. For boots, you either want to go for speed because she does get speed from her traces. If you don't want to run speed on her, then you can go for attack boots. For link rope, either attack or energy regeneration. And just for your overall substats, I would go for crit, speed, or attack. So overall, I think Jingliu is going to be a very nice DPS character. I'm definitely going to pull for her. I might pull for her E2. I kind of wanted to pull for her E6, but kind of looking at it, I'm kind of not interested anymore. Or maybe I still will, I don't know, we'll see. I would say I'm not that impressed by her kit, I just think she's capable of doing a lot of damage. But nonetheless, I think she's going to be a very nice character and I am very excited for her. So that is my pre-release of Jingliu. I would do a post-release video whenever she releases to take a look of how she overall feels as a DPS character compared to the other DPS characters that we already have. But nonetheless, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more videos like this, then subscribe to the channel, leave a like to the video to support it. Check out my Twitch if you want to catch my live streams. The link will be in the description below. That's it for today and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.